Good morning, everybody. This week's Parshas Yisro, which contains the Ten Commandments, the revelation at Sinai, among other things. And we're coming near to the end of these weeks of Shovavim. This is the fifth week of Shovavim. So pretty much after the Shabbos, we have 1 week left to make all of these incredible tikkunim. And we can admit that it's a very difficult thing to do. The thing about Parshas Yisro and Shavuos, and also to a certain extent, probably even more so in Parshas V'schanan, which is a reading that we have also on that week on Tisha B'Av, is this question of apologetics. Is apologetics a dirty word in Judaism? For those who don't know what the word apologetics means, I'm assuming if we're talking to people who are familiar with Christianity or other religions, or other ideologies, they're familiar with the word apologetics, but sometimes you hear, what does it mean, an apologist? You think it's a guy who's walking around always saying, I'm sorry. But what apologetics means is defense of one's faith. And the question is, faith or other beliefs. And I've, for a long time believed, and I still believe, and maintain that Judaism has, for all the religions of the world, one of the strongest, if not the strongest, apologetic arguments, particularly when it comes to what we have here in Parshas Yisro, and which is echoed in Parshas V'schanan. We have here in Exodus 19 and 20, and is echoed in Deuteronomy 4. Perhaps even a little bit stronger the way that it's presented in Deuteronomy, is, I believe, the strongest apologetic argument that any religion has or can make. And we've discussed this many, many times, and that is national revelation. And not only national revelation, but national revelation presented in a manner that is exclusive and has never been Yiddish abgeschlagt. It was never disproven, the claims that are made in Exodus 19, Exodus 20, and Deuteronomy 4. And the parable I always give is that if millions of people, if one person by himself claims that he's in the middle of the woods and he sees a UFO or an alien and this and that, you believe him or you don't believe him. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. There's no way to really know. But if someone claims that, I guess this Sunday is the Super Bowl, right? So let's say on Monday, I don't plan to watch the Super Bowl. I think it's annoying that The Simpsons is not on, But, I had to miss The Simpsons just for this. Why do these things always happen to me, right? I don't know if anybody knows that song from Weird Al Yankovic, but it's a Musa schmooze, and how ridiculous it is. In any event, let's say that someone claims in the middle of the Super Bowl a UFO came down and had a message, and might be one that YouTube doesn't want us to say, so I have to be very careful what I say here. But in any event, if someone claims on Monday that this is what happened, and didn't you see it? You saw it. You were sitting next to me watching, and you saw it. You were there in the stadium, wherever it is. I don't know who's playing. I don't even know who's playing the Super Bowl. You were there and you saw it happen. No, I didn't. And then if someone goes even further and says, not only you saw it, but nothing like this ever happened before in history, or from the beginning of time until the end of time. This is a unique event. These are the claims, not about a UFO, but about the Creator, who fills all worlds and surrounds all worlds, whose glory fills the whole earth. these are the claims that we have that God spoke at Mount Sinai in front of an entire nation, 600,000 men between certain ages and of certain tribes. It doesn't count the older men and the younger children and the women and the people who are not part of any tribes, like the mixed multitude and others. We could assume millions and millions of people were there at Sinai and all heard the words, "I am the Lord thy God who took you out of the land of Egypt from the house of slavery. You shall have no other gods before me." That's the claim. And then in Deuteronomy 4, Moses goes on to say that that nothing like this ever happened before. He dares us. He says, "Sha'al no liyamim rishonim." Please, now ask, study history, comparative religion. Has anything like this ever happened or even been heard of? Meaning, not only is the claim that Moses is making here that no one would even make up such a story, that an entire nation should hear the voice of God and live, as you did. And I know Rabbi Lawrence Kellerman, in his book Permission to Receive, which is a classic of Jewish apologetics, brings that there was one Hindu story in the Bhagavad Gita about a large amount of people, like millions of people, hearing one of the Hindu deities speak to them, and they all died. So that detail of that you heard the voice of God and lived, that's something that still remains unique in the annals of comparative religion and world religion. And this is a pretty powerful statement. And the truth of the matter is, most of the other religions do not have no reason to deny this. Certainly the Christians and the Muslims, that's part of their tradition. And I guess to a certain extent, since the Sikhs, in a certain sense, grew out of Sufi Islam and away from it and turned, in the opposite direction practically, but share the theology, I would assume they also would accept this, although it's probably not so much on their radar. And so too, the other traditions that it's maybe not on their radar would have very little reason to deny that this event took place. And I would include the polytheistic pagan religions, neo-pagan religions, that they would have no reason to deny that this took place, that this is a historical event. So with all that being said, and indeed our Rishonim bring this, Rambam, Maimonides, and Hilchos Yesodei Torah, and the laws of the foundations of the Torah brings this, as well as the Kuzari, Rabbi Yehuda Halevi. However, many of my Hasidic teachers feel that this is problematic, which seems strange, right? One thing is that Rabbi Nachman of Breslov discouraged the study of philosophy, and it would seem that that Maimonides, the laws of the foundation of the Torah, is a philosophical work, and the Hasidim encourage blind faith in a certain sense. And so one of my teachers, Rabbi Moshe Weinberger, has been repeating constantly for many years that the truth of the matter is you can find a way to, like we say, upschlag, to disprove or to bring some doubt to any of these apologetic proofs that we have in the Jewish tradition. So then what? What's the point of people who believe these things to be true to say this? And why could we say that apologetics is a dirty word? And the reason is, and I think part of it is that now is the time of Shovavim, on which we seek to rectify relationships and to have, the point of making tikkun habris, tikkun yesod, is to live a healthy life as far as our relationships between husband and wife. And of course, the relationship of husband and wife is the mashal, is the parable of our relationship to God. Song of Solomon, Shir Shirim. And with all that being said, the way Rabbi Weinberger says it over, he said, if someone asks you, well, why do you love your wife? And you have a whole list of checkpoints, and you check off the boxes. Well, it's easy to find somebody else who might have more boxes checked off. But if your answer is, I don't have an answer, I could talk about how much I love my wife, but I can't give a direct answer as to why. So then you have a healthy relationship. And so too with God. Yes, God checks off all those boxes. But that's not why we have our devotions to God. That's not why we live this lifestyle. That's not why we are Jews. That's not why we have whatever religion we have. We do it because not for a religion, but for a relationship. And the relationship, it has to be like a relationship of Tehillim, of the Psalms. It has to be like where it's poetic and romantic, and Shir Shirim, Song of Songs. It has to be like the Shir Yichud. If you have where theology is brought out in a hymn, and it's quite inspiring and beautiful, and not merely checking off the boxes in a cold, rational way, but in an emotional way. And when we have this emotional connection, whether to those that we love, those we have relationships with, whatever types of relationships, and whether we have, and so too with God, that's when we have a healthy relationship. That's when we make the tikkun yesod. And so yes, God checks off all those boxes. And the truth is, no other religion is going to check off the boxes like this. But that's not why we do this. All right. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe. Comment. We'll see you later.